Hello, hello. Welcome. Bienvenidos a otro episodio o segmento de Hoy en Día TV. I am your host, Yessie Rodriguez. Another beautiful day. Hey, we are alive. We are well. We are kicking. And we're going to inspire again. So I'm going to bring my co-host on, Manny Morales. Welcome to the stage.
Bendiciones, mi gente, ¿cómo estamos? How's everybody doing? How are you?
How are you? Oh, look at, see, Jinx. What's I was saying when we were kids, Jinx?
Estoy cansado como siempre, pero feliz porque no tengo que trabajar hasta el martes.
So tienes libre. Okay.
Yeah. So, Monday is Labor Day. So our bosses were like, well, let's give y'all 10 hours till Thursday and take off Friday. So I was like, all right, whatever. So we had to work 10 hours straight from Monday to Thursday. So, yeah.
So is that turning over a new leaf, you think? Or is it, what do you think?
They just didn't want to work the whole week. They wanted a longer break.
I gotcha. I feel you. Okay, well, good. So any plans for the weekend since you have all these days off?
Work, right. I because, my car was messed up. So I haven't been able to write like I wanted to. And I really, since I started writing again, I really want to get back to writing. So I'll probably do a lot of writing and just little things, to the gym.
Yes.
I haven't been this week because we've been doing 10 hours. So by the time I get home, it's like 5 o'clock. I still have to, eat dinner, stuff like that. So I try not to go to bed too late because I have to get up at 4 o'clock in the morning. So, yeah.
Oh, my.
Woo! Yeah, I'm definitely going to go to the gym.
At 4 o'clock in the morning sounds rough.
Hey, every morning I sit on my bed, me siento en la cama y digo, you don't have to go to work today. You can just be okay. I was
money's going to fall. Money,
right.
money.
Like, no, because you have to pay rent this week, so you have to go to work.
So funny.
So, yeah. How about you? How you been?
You know what? I've been great, immensely busy, but I guess busy is good, right? But then it's one of those like bittersweet things. It's like you're so busy that there's so many things that you got to do, and I'm one of those that I want to be able to, like, as I'm doing it, be able to, like, what's that old saying? Sit down and smell the flowers, kind of thing. But then because I'm so busy,
get out of my head. Get out of my head. I was just about to say that. I'd stop and smell the roses is what I was going to say.
Yeah.
So I have a friend that she's doing the same thing. Like, she has a day job and then she has her own podcast and then she has a son and she's just focused. And it's a good thing to be focused, but don't forget to take time out for yourself and your family. Because even though the baby is small, he's young right now. The little bit of time that you spend with him, he'll remember it, but then, he'll remember you always being busy, which, I mean, it's always a blessing and a curse because he's going to see your drive and your ambition. But then, part of him is going to be like, well, mom was never, what I'm saying? She didn't give me that much time. So, don't forget to take out time for yourself and your family. Those of you that have a family, I live alone, so I don't come home to nobody except my snake, Isis. Isis be missing me when I go to work.
Yeah, I'm sure Isis does because you feed her. And if not,
yeah, she's been freaky lately too. Like, before, like 3-4 months ago, like, she wouldn't eat. I'm like, what is wrong? And we talk and we have a conversation, and she's like, I just don't feel hungry. But lately she's been greedy, like 2 mice a day. Like, what are you doing, gorda?
wow, yeah, she was like, forget this diet. I'm about to eat whatever you give me.
Yeah, crazy.
But going back to what you were saying, I agree, and that, yes, I definitely encourage the audience, the viewers, us, especially to just anybody who's really busy to definitely slow down if you can, right? Because it's one of those things where you can. It's just forcing yourself to do it. because time does pass by quickly. And I saw a post the other day on Instagram that talked about that exact same example that you shared, Manny, where it's like the parent, they show a picture of a parent and a picture of a kid, and the parents always at work, they're on their laptops, their cell phones, and this and that, and then the kids like the hands up, like, "Hey, I'm right here." And
Mm-hmm.
then time
Right.
passes as I was swiping through the pictures, and you would now see the parent is old, the kid is doing whatever it is with their friends and family, and now the parent is left behind. And so it's one of those things where it's like,
Right.
if only, woulda, shoulda, coulda, right?
Right. And it's like the only thing you can, money will always come and go.
Mhm.
Material things always come and go, but time is the only thing you can never get back. Like we can't go back in time, even though Michael J. Fox made it seem easy. We can't go back in time. So the only thing that is precious and it should be precious to you is that time with those that you love and just yourself. You have to have time for yourself so you can get to know yourself better if you don't really know yourself.
Right, absolutely. Absolutely. That makes sense. So, Manny, I wanted to share we have someone, a brand that is
Yeah.
going to possibly be, collaborate with us and be one of our sponsors. But I'm sampling today. It's called V Atlas. I don't know if you can really see it yet.
Oh, okay.
V
Hmm.
Atlas wine.
Ah, wine. Okay.
So, V Atlas.
Nice.
So, this one here that I have is a semi sweet wine. So,
Okay. Is it red or white? It looks red. Okay, so it's red. Okay. How is it?
it's a red blend. It's actually really good.
Oh, okay.
Actually
Good.
really, really good. And oh yes, shout out to Antonio and everybody watching. Shout out to Tim. I see you watching as well.
Yeah. Shout out to Tim.
Manny says, bendiciones, mi gente. Yes. But for those interested, definitely encourage you all to check out the vatlas.com website for your order of wine. There's also merchandise available as well. So check that out.
Yeah. Even though I haven't tried it, but women know their wine. So if Yessie says it's good, it's got to be good.
Yeah. I will say this. I have a very unusual taste palette.
Uh huh.
And the reason why I say that is because what I've noticed, like this is good, and other people have tried it and they've confirmed that it's good, but there's other stuff that I like that other people they look at me like, mm. Like for example, I enjoy every now and then beer. I like beer. But the beer that I like is like upscale beer, like is
Okay.
a $20 a bottle of beer.
Okay.
Because it's the way it's brewed and just made is different. And so one of my favorites is chocolate infused beer.
Okay.
So for those who haven't tried it, I highly encourage you to try some chocolate infused beer if you like chocolate, right?
All right.
Different but very tasty.
Yes. Yeah. I'm old fashioned, man. Give me a Corona or old
Ah,
fashioned Malta any day. Okay, so I'm gonna ask you a question. India
my
or Goya? India or Goya?
Goya,
Okay.
Goya. I was
You
gonna
would
say you better not say India.
say India, I was gonna log off straight up.
If you were gonna say India, I was gonna boot you off.
So where can they find the wine at?
Yeah, so under the vatlas.com website.
Okay,
Let me see.
okay. I might try about them. I'll let you know.
Yeah.
Yeah, put it up there. See what they say. See if anybody gets some. Yeah, if
Let
you
me
get some,
put it
let us know. Tell us how it is.
Yeah, and let them know that Manny and Yessie sent
Sent
you
you.
all.
Right. Don't get too drunk though.
Yeah, no. Drink responsibly, for sure.
Right.
Please.
Right.
Drink responsibly, yes.
Especially y'all moms. I seen a video one time and uh, the wife and the husband was like, "You can only have one glass of wine," and she came out with this big gigantic glass. Right? No. Mm-mm, no. Mm-mm.
She
Drink
was actually
responsibly.
thinking strategically and very smart. So I salute her for that. She was like, "Oh yeah, you know what? I got something for you."
Right. Drink responsibly.
Right. Now I will say this. There's a trick that again, drink responsibly, but the trick is this. As you drink, you have to drink water. So it cancels it out because it's flushing out your
Okay.
system.
Gotcha.
Don't just drink water on
Right.
top of it, so
Right.
that way you can feel all buzz and lightheaded and stuff. You
Right.
It's like it's balancing each other out because you're drinking alcohol, but then you're flushing it out. Yes, you're gonna have to use the restroom a little bit more, but the point
Yeah.
is that you are flushing your system so that you're not intoxicated, right? So yeah,
Hmm.
just a little trick I wanted to
Good
share that
trick.
with y'all.
Good trick. Yeah. That's
But
I
yeah.
have to write that one down. I don't drink though. I don't drink a lot. Like I have a bottle of tequila that it's like halfway through, and I've had it for like 2 months.
I
So
gotcha. Yeah.
I'm not really a big drinker.
Yeah, I'm not tequila. I'm not a tequila person. Mm. So you enjoy your tequila. But we're definitely going to transition over to our special guest because we have a very interesting guest, and I'm definitely
Very,
excited
very
to hear
interesting.
more about it.
Very
So,
interesting.
Manny, you work closely with this individual, so
Yes.
please do the honors of introducing this wonderful individual we have behind the stage, waiting patiently to be on, and that way we can get the ball rolling.
So, just like the way that you and I met through Brent Gaskins, like networking. Shout out to
Hmm.
Brent. Um, if we met at networking, he found me on Facebook and reached out to me and was like, "Yo, I like the way you write, and I want you to write a comic book novel for one of my older characters." And I was like, "I've never written a comic book." Look at me, about to say something wrong in English. Wrote.
It's all good.
I've never written a comic book novel, so I was like, "This is an interesting challenge." So I took him up on the challenge, and it's definitely been interesting. His name is Andre Brown,
Hmm.
and he is out of Norfolk, Virginia, if I'm not mistaken. He'll probably correct me if I'm wrong once he comes on. But he's in Virginia, and he created the first comic universe in Virginia, and it's called Spectacular Ink. He is doing short movies. He's doing a stage play right now. He has comics out. He has, I want to say five, if I'm not mistaken, because I did the promo, and I believe he has five comics out now, different stories, not including the story that I'm writing. But he's just an amazing guy. Like I met him, I went down and was on his podcast in Virginia, and I met a lot of his the people that he works with, and they're just amazing people. And I am definitely honored to introduce our guest, Andre Brown.
Awesome. Well, welcome to the Hoy en Dia TV stage, Andre Brown.
What's going
Hey,
on?
how you doing? What's going on?
How's it going?
I'm doing good. I'm doing good. I'm definitely excited to be here. It's definitely an
Yes.
honor. I really appreciate
Yeah,
it.
we are definitely excited to have you, man. How are you feeling
Mhm.
today? How are you feeling?
I am feeling fantastic. Yeah, I was, working,
Awesome.
going through stuff like y'all, but
Lord.
yeah, definitely feeling great. Definitely feeling great.
Yes.
I appreciate it.
Yes. That is
That is
awesome.
beautiful. Yes. So tell us, who is Mr. Andre Brown?
Yes.
Oh yes. So I'll correct a few things. So yeah. So
Okay.
the reason why I know you said Norfolk is because that's where we originally was started our
Podcast.
podcast.
Uh-huh.
Was in Norfolk. I
New.
am. Yeah. You said it what
Okay.
now?
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
New.
So
Okay.
so I'm in Hampton, Virginia.
Okay. Okay.
I had a little bit of time when I was very young, in Georgia, Decatur, and stuff like that.
Okay.
That's where my mom and my family. I have still a lot of family out there, in Augusta, Savannah, all throughout Georgia and stuff like that. But like that's kind of where I was at when I was very little. Then my mom
Okay.
came here to Virginia, and basically I've been here, ever since and stuff
Ever
like
since.
that. And for Spectacular Ink, so we are the first shared comic cinematic universe.
There you go.
We hit certain mediums that actually qualified for us to actually be that. That was originated out of Virginia. So for we had the comic books. So right now we have Motion Man number one, Atomic Woman number one, and then we have Galactic Ministries number one that's getting ready to come out. The Night Watch magazine volume one, that came out. We're working on volume 2 now, and then we had a few episodes basically of shows that's actually on our YouTube channel as of right now. First episode of Motion Man, first episode of Death Wisher, and we had a couple of trailers, and then the first episode of Mason, Diary of the Indestructible Girl. And then of course now with him creating the actual novel. So I really appreciate you, Manny.
You're welcome.
And then the stage play that actually puts us where no comic book company that originated out of Virginia has been able to hit those different mediums. Oh, and then of course the dramatic audio podcast as well. So we
Right.
actually took the actors and actresses, had them come and voice a separate story that blends into the universe of the shows and stuff like that as well that we're putting together. So it's kind of like a audio book, if you want to, in the
Mhm.
sense that
Right.
we had the sound effects like lightning and I'm using my power and stuff like that. So we did that. So it was a lot of those things that kind of qualified us to be the first one in Virginia to do that.
That's
That is
exciting.
amazing.
That is
Wow.
exciting. I'm excited over here, and I'm not even there. I'm excited.
Well, you're with us in spirit, so
Right.
and you see
Definitely.
the updates.
Definitely.
Yeah, you
Definitely.
see the updates.
Because you're contributing, right? You're writing
Yeah.
for this
I'm
company.
writing the book. Yeah. Yeah. So, you want to talk about it? The book? I'll let you,
Yeah,
kind of
yeah.
give them a synopsis of what the book is.
Yeah, definitely. So I know when I came to you, because I when I read it, I was like, when I read on some of your books that you had that came out, and I was like, man, I really can see you, Brett, because the main element of me choosing you was the character aspects, diving into understanding the psyche of characters, being able to really dive in. Because one of the things I have it's like a business, he's like a business manager, he's COO, Chief Operating Officer of Spectacular Ink Comics. His name is Wayne Robinson. He's like a business dad, business father to
Okay.
me. And one of the things when we actually started, and he started, advising me and actually becoming the COO of Spectacular Ink Comics, he was like, it's not about the powers. The powers are like it's like the frosting of a cake. What you
Hmm.
want is the substance. You want to understand things. And when he said that, and I started thinking about it, it made a lot of sense because I was like, a lot of times I dive like, for an example, outside of my characters, my favorite ever created comic book character is Batman.
Okay.
And what makes Batman Batman is understanding the psyche of Batman. His real essence of him is the mask. That is when he's Batman, that's who he really is. Bruce Wayne is the actual mask. The playboy. He got three
Right.
or four girls coming in helicopters, buying restaurants. Like That's the mirage to throw you off from
Right.
who he
Right.
really is. And I thought about it, and I was like, that. So thinking about that, he's not fighting Two Face. He's not fighting Ra's al Ghul. He's not fight. It's literally the psyche and the mental aspects of what you're dealing with. That is what I really truly understand about this character, and that's what made me choose you because it's like you're able to hone in and focus on the character, the elements of what's going on, the mental aspects, the relationships. What I'm saying, like, so we're talking about the character that you're going to be writing for. The
Right.
crazy thing is Messenger is, a little bit inspired by Batman.
Right.
Because I wanted a character that kind of, in its own way, embodied something, fragments of what Batman is, and just to kind of keep it, short and sweet because it could go on for a long
Right.
time. Just and this is just one character, but
Right.
basically, Messenger is he was 50 years in the future. He's basically that was his time frame, 50 years from the time that we're in now, and basically he was a specialized Marine. Basically, he led, you know, squadrons and units and things of that nature. I mean, he's basically a warrior. But his backstory, based on how he started though, when he was 3, his dad was a Spanish, he was like a drug lieutenant, about to be a drug lord. And he had because Dominican. I'm sorry, I apologize. Dominican,
Hmm.
Dominican father. He had a Caucasian mother, and black, so she was mixed. So you got mixed and then Dominican. Dominican was the dominance of what you see because he kind of resembles Vin Diesel a little bit, basically in his face and physique and
Look
stuff
at your
like
face.
that.
Look at your
Yeah.
face.
Well, I mean, it's good to put a character or two with a face. Like, oh, okay,
Yeah.
that's how
Okay. Side, and it's funny that you said that. So side note. So because I can't. So here's the thing. I can't draw, but I see characters in my head.
Right.
So
Mhm.
for me, when I had to try to explain to an illustrator what a character looked like, it was very complicated early years. So what I started doing was I started like, okay, structuring them a little bit to an actor or actress that was the baseline. Like they look like this person.
Right.
And then kind of configuring, and that's kind of how. So it's funny that like I was like, who would he most look like? And it was
Right.
like I was like, yeah, he Vin Diesel would probably be more what I see him as and stuff
Mhm.
like that. And that's kind of how that kind of happened. But when he was 3, basically his father was getting ready to get elevated into being like a drug lord, and he's like, I can't deal with this boy. I need to focus on this empire. You need to get rid of him. Blah blah blah. But he's. I mean, he wasn't too ruthless to the point that he was actually going to kill the boy. He was telling the mom, put, I don't just take him somewhere, and it's whatever. And she just kind of abandoned him somewhere in the alley, kind of. But it was kind of intentional, where the alley was because it was near an orphanage.
Right.
So, I'm saying that's where, she was able to take him or whatever like that. And then the orphanage, adopted him, and it was this martial arts master. So they would have people come and try to talk to the children, try to inspire them because a lot of them just didn't get adopted. They were just there for years. And it was a martial arts master that came there. That was one of the people that talked. And the thing about Tony was he had like the photographic memory. So he used to watch the old Bruce Lee, movies and stuff like that,
Mhm.
and he could actually see and mimic those movements. And it was people that he would kind of be the advocator for people that that were in kids that was getting bullied and picked on and stuff like that, and he like leave them alone, and he used that photographic knowledge to fight. So he would
Wow.
defend people, what
Right.
I'm saying, and to be and the martial arts master, was about to leave because he already did his presentation, whatever. And Tony was really in it because he was defending what this bully or whatever. I mean, bullying this innocent person that was being bullied, and he saw that and he was like, I want to adopt him. Like literally was like this this boy right here is something special. And that's kind of how he started in his, getting into the ranks. So speeding up now, he's military, blah blah blah, and he meets this woman, falls in love, and she starts, like, hey, maybe you need to get out the military, and let's try to, think about maybe having a family or whatever like that. And it was certain things that she was, having him in, like he was in, the futuristic SWAT because it's 50 years in the future, and then he became an investigator and stuff like that, not knowing that she was actually working for a shadow organization, and they were trying to find specific individuals for this experiment that they needed. They needed people who were well built, like to the maximum capacity, kind of like how Batman is. He's like the peak physicality of what a human can be, and that's how he was. I mean, he's a Marine leader, knows how to kill. Now he's got SWAT training. He's an investigator now, so he's like they're like, oh, this guy's perfect, but the issue was this was the only man that she ever fell in love with. She's done this a couple of times, but Tony was completely different to the point that because she never had any kids with any of the other 3 that she or 4 that she did that with, but she
Mhm.
ended up like trying to dodge the shadow organization and actually had kids with him. She wasn't supposed to do that.
Wow.
So but I mean, it's a shadow organization, so they kind of just let stuff happen because he was learning things more. It was certain aspects of things that he was gaining, so they kind of let her think that she was hiding and getting away in a
Right.
sense. And then it was like, all right, it's time to pull the plug. We're ready to pull him. He has enough weight he needs and things of that nature. So they extract them, find them, and they come get them. They take them to this underground special lab. Like they do all these different experiments and stuff like that. And he's trying to figure out a way to try to get out and do all this other stuff. And she's a fighter too. She's trained espionage and stuff like that. So they're trying to plan, and he's just like, the head people are like, whatever you think was going to happen is not going to happen. And then the funny thing about it is that if you think about it, no, she never had kids, but the fact that she had kids with him, that was leverage. They allowed them to grow a little bit, you know what I'm saying, so they could be leverage. So they're like, okay, because it's easy now. It's like, I'm gonna pull this gun and I'm gonna point it at your 7-year-old son. You're gonna get in. I don't have to force you to do it. I don't have to fight you.
Mm-mm.
They move the guard. All they got to do is have the guards over where the kids are. So they're like, dude, like they only got the guards on him. Like, yeah, you could fight like 10 of us at the same time, but you're not gonna be fast enough to be able to stop the bullet that we put in your kid's head. So and then they had to put a knife in his wife's throat, and was like, bro, just get in, they'll be fine, whatever like that. So they strap him in and they hit him with the sleeping gas so they can go ahead and start the procedure. And the last thing he sees is that the people cut his wife's throat and then they actually kill his kids in front of him while he's in the chamber thing. He's like, nah, and he falls asleep. That's literally the last thing he saw. But
Oh,
what do we always see? The trope always shown in movies, TV shows, comics, books, it doesn't matter. The human heart is more powerful than what you realize. So
right.
they put so what they did, they injected him with these special nanites that actually. So what they do is it's like creating an organic, like an organic computer in his brain. His brain literally becomes an actual computer, and it
Uh,
actually enhances. So now take everything that I just said that he's been through, the investigative elements, marine training, SWAT, all of these things are placed in front of his mind now. Imagine all the stuff that you learn, fighting techniques and things you've learned in books and stuff like that, but it's always constantly fresh in your mind,
wow,
making
yeah.
your mind the peak element and creating. So, and the best way to say it is it's like organically created his own, like Jarvis in a sense. Jarvis is the program for Iron Man. So he has
Mhm.
his own program that is created. It's called Vixen, that it organically created. But and also it gives him advanced abilities as well. So they took like certain animals, like a panther, a lion, a tarantula, all the predator elements, extra strength, extra speed at times, and stuff like that. And all of this stuff is injected in his body. Then they
Mm.
injected the now they injected the brainwashing so they can actually try to control him. But as we just said a few minutes ago, the human heart. He wakes up. The first thing it rejects the brain control because the first thing he remembers is the scream of his wife, his kids, and they're dead. So they think when they unlock him out, we got him under our control, and he's like, "Y'all killed my family. Wait a minute, we thought we ejected the bro. Yo, no, you just killed his wife and kids. That he's not gonna forget it. There's no not amount of brainwashing that's going to wipe that out. So he goes on a rampage. Like he's just like, well, I mean, I don't have anything to live for. So let me just go ahead and destroy your whole lab. I'm just going to start. He's just kicking over stuff, causing explosions. He's like, oh, this chemical, whatever. He's shooting up everybody. I mean, you literally just made like the perfect weapon, basically. So you're trying to shoot at him. He's using lion speed increase. So it's like it's his own natural speed. But he can add lion speed on top of that. So he's moving so fast that they can't even shoot him. He's like he got night vision, so he's going through. He's just destroying that. So, but what happens is the floor below the floor that he was on, they were trying to play with time travel. They're trying to figure out if they
Oh.
can go back in time, move forward in time, and stuff like that. But they've never been successful. But with all of the
Mhm.
chemicals being slashed around, all the stuff that's going on through the whole lab itself, it causes some type of disruption, which warps the whole lab that's underground 50 years in the past. So the whole lab gets sucked 50 years in the past. And he's like, okay, so everybody's dead but him. So, and he's like, okay, so he comes up out the ground and he starts figuring out that he's like, yo, this is not my time. This is literally not where I'm supposed to be at. And he starts trying to piece things together. And the slow, like some of the elements he's already, because when Manny's writing it, he's already become the messenger. That what I'm talking about takes time for him because he has to get acclimated to what's going on and what's happening. And
Mhm.
then he has to figure out, okay, I don't have a time machine. This literally was some type of freak accident. So I need to figure out what I'm gonna do here. And he starts a private investigating firm, because one of the things that he figured out, because he's really good at investigating, is the investigation elements is helping innocent people, but also learning about this time. He has a he's a PI, so he like, I can go here on, hey, I'm just asking questions about XYZ. So he's learned about the time. He's learned about this, because it's the same city he's in. It's called Algebra State. He got warped 50 years back in the same city called Algebra State that he was already in. It's just 50 years in the past.
Mhm.
So
Mhm.
now he's like, okay, I'm learning and this and the third, and he's learning that his city that he was in 50 years in the future, 50 years in the past was super corrupt. The government is corrupt. There's a lot of different, syndicates and things going on and stuff like that. People are getting tricked out of their homes and all this other stuff. And he's like, man, they really need someone to be able to help them.
Right.
And the AI's trick. Here's the thing I think you're gonna like. Yes, that Manny he was like, yo, that's crazy. The AI I told you he created. I mean that was formulated in his head. It's called Vixen. It's his, it's an organic AI that he speaks to like Iron Man speaks to Jarvis. So think that the voice of Vixen is of his dead wife. Yeah. So
Hey, look, and what everything that he's told you in the
Mm.
past like 10 minutes is not even half of the book. Like that's just the beginning.
yep.
That's the beginning. Like
Wow.
that's not even half of it. I can't
This
wait.
is
Well, let's not give too much
Yeah,
though,
okay.
because
I
we
got
want
you.
the
Yeah, I
people
got
to,
you.
yeah.
Yeah, I got you.
because right now I'm like on the edge of my seats. I'm like, ooh, I want more, but then I don't want to ruin it because I encourage y'all to check it
Yes,
out so you can read it for
yes.
yourself. And yeah,
We'll definitely keep y'all updated and let y'all know when it definitely comes out.
Gotcha.
So,
Yeah, but that's just one character.
right. That's just
just
one
one character.
chapter
Wow,
two. If that. Like, yeah, it's about to be serious.
Yeah,
Yes,
so I
yes.
appreciate that. Yeah, but yeah, I'm
that's
super excited.
amazing. You should be, yes, because I have just listening to you. I have several questions just flowing through my head right now. So we're gonna rewind it back to how this all started. Why comics? Why Spectacular Ink Comics LLC? How did this all transpire?
Well, one of the things when I was really young, my mom, because I was the okay, so I'm gonna keep it real. Manny knows exactly what I'm saying.
Mhm.
Back then, reading comics was like, you're a nerd, get out of here, geek, and blah blah blah. Oh, you little stack of comics, whatever. Now, of course, now everybody's like, yeah, yeah, I've been
Right.
reading since. I'm like, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, okay,
Right.
but
Right.
but back then, that was my thing. I love comics stuff like that. And my mom, she said to me that, of course, something. It sounds so cliche. Of course, our parents have said that, if it's something that you love doing, why don't you, do it for a living or do something that that you love, your passion and stuff like that. But I really thought about it, and I was like, man, I would love to create my own comic book universe. And this was, it really resonated with me when I was in high school, and
Mhm.
that's when I started. I really had to, of course, start the research process. So I'm like, okay, so I, at the time, that point, because I'm 38, so around that time, Google and all that stuff wasn't really like prominent yet.
Right.
So
Right.
I went to the library and I actually got the DC Comics Encyclopedia and the Marvel Comics Encyclopedia. I knew characters, but I really needed to understand and make sure that I'm not plagiarizing, I'm not, using names
Mm.
that's already in the system and stuff like that. So did my research and studied, and I was like, okay, I need to formulate the team, and that'll be my first team. So, and I was like, okay, so before I do anything else, before I create anything, I needed to create the first set of characters and what the big title name was going to be, like Avengers or Justice League. I was like, okay, blah blah blah. And I was just like,
Mhm.
ah. So I had to think about it, and I said, you know what? Let me create the team first and let it speak to me.
Mm.
So, and I'm not going to dive deep into anybody. I'm just going to give like really, really cut short to the point of the first 9 I created. First one was I needed an inspiration, because what I learned from Marvel and DC is that the formula is almost kind of the same, because you have to answer certain questions. Like, who you got these teams, who's paying for stuff? Like, who's
Right.
okay, so you need to have somebody that's wealthy. So of course I got Volturn. He's literally somebody that he could just turn into the two forms of water, which is vapor and actual water. He can control it, this, that, and the third. He becomes a doctor, because it actually enhances his brain, becomes super intelligent, and he becomes this billionaire off that. And he just starts buying property and blah blah blah. And he's like, so he is the, you want to say, the Tony Stark, the arrogant one, like, blah blah blah. I just saved these kids, whatever. So
Right,
and
right,
then you're
right.
like, okay, but now you need to have somebody that's a symbol of hope. And Marvel, of course, you have Captain America, and then of course you have for DC, you have Superman. The symbol, his symbol, and I kind of fuse those elements together because the symbol of Captain America, he's, because here's the thing, he's not the strongest Avenger, but he is the most important because he's that symbolization that needs to be
Mhm.
seen when all hope is lost, type of thing and stuff
Right,
like that.
unity from the people.
Exactly.
Mhm.
And I with and not necessarily putting it on like a race card or anything like that. It was just, I think that because of how black men were being portrayed, or how kind of people kind of scared of us, or whatever. I said, you know what? I want the leader to intentionally be a black man that he inspires people to see hope. They see that, and I created a symbol. It's a whole story. I'm not even gonna go right down into that, but and actually, he was the first character I ever created, and he's the significant and most important. That when I tell my kids that this character can never leave the family legacy, he is the
Mhm.
embodiment of hope. His name is the legendary myth, and the symbol on his chest represents hope. When people see it, I intentionally have in his first comic book, which is being developed now, where there's one shot where he's it's smoke because it's in New York. It's a building that's on fire, and people are going up to the roof, and they have nowhere else to go. And you see in the smoke his body figure, but for some odd reason the symbol is like clear as day, and they know they're about to be, oh, we're about to be, saved and stuff like that. So
Right.
he's the one, he's the leader, but he's the one that, always has the voice of reason, treating people with respect and things of that nature. So you got, out of the nine, you got your first two. So you got, of course, I mean, the first three I told you about. You got Messenger is one of them too.
Mhm.
He's the second character I made. And you got Volturn. Now you got Guardian Ninja, you got Allzon, you got Phenomenon, you got Striker Woman, you got Emerald. Emerald, she is my Spanish character. I love her to death. She is so
Hey,
great.
wepa!
Yes, yes, and one of the big things about this team, that the reason why I'm saying that to you guys too is because I intentionally, the reason why we and our main slogan is representing a different kind of hero is because I
Mhm,
wanted to organically, and I'm going to say what I'm going to specify why I say organically in a
mhm.
second, but I wanted to organically create a team of different races, nationalities, and cultures, have them come together in the room, and it's not weird. It's
Right.
okay, you're Japanese, you're Dominican, and mixed. You're black, you're Spanish, and it doesn't matter. We all have unique abilities. We're here to save the world, and I feel like that's a very critical and important thing. And the reason why, and circle back when I was saying organically, is that I love DC Comics, I love Marvel to death. But one of the things I don't like is that when you're now trying to change nationality of characters that were established as Caucasian before, and now you're trying, because you're trying to either, I mean, you may have good intentions, but it kind of looks like pandering. It kind of looks like you're trying to, oh, we got to keep up with the times and stuff like that. Just
Hmm.
create. That's one of the reasons I love Miss Marvel. Miss Marvel, this was a new character. I think she's Pakistani,
Hmm.
and she's not changed or morphed from something. It's just she was Pakistani in character, and I like that. I'm like, keep doing stuff like that, but don't take. Well, Superman could be black. I mean, technically he's an alien, so he can be black, and they do have one different one from a different time. But don't
Hmm.
try to like, oh, look y'all. I'm like, no, I want my own
Right.
original black character that's not somebody else that was derived. So now when people see these nine characters, they it's someone almost kind of for everybody. So like, especially like Emerald, that's my Spanish character. That was super important to me, and I want, Manny, that's another bug for your ear for later time in the future. I wanted, people of that nationality to really represent. I mean, I'm just going to create the baseline, but I want to have someone of that nationality really bring out the nationality of that character
Right.
intentionally, and to just run with it and stuff like that. But that's kind of how it got created. It was it was a need to me that we needed a team that was organically different nationalities working together and to show that representation, but also doing something that I did love that I felt like I can be able to utilize to be able to create a legacy for my children in the future and stuff like that. So that's kind of how basically everything started. Started in high school, and then I've just been adding, building. I created a list of 190 characters, and I was like, okay, let me try to structure things, and then just kind
Right.
of building up there.
That is
Yeah,
awesome. That is definitely awesome. Yeah.
Now,
So,
absolutely.
if you want to know, so now if you're asking me about the today time, like how did we get to where we at now, as far as Spectacular Ink being the first shared comic cinematic universe, that happened. I would say the process of that starting was almost 9 years ago. I want to say Page Turner Entertainment, Mr. Brandon Bezo Turner, and Donnie Smith. Shout out to them. They had an idea. They were they was trying to test something out. They were trying to get a website. They wanted to create their like a platform that people can have shows and different things up there. And Donnie reached out to me because he was like, yeah, I know you write stuff and everything like that. And at that time, I was actually not only trying to get stuff straight with the comic books, because this is before
Mhm.
production or anything like that, but I was trying to do things with Mr. Wayne. We was just really starting to get some comic books together. And I had a music label at the time because I did do music. I wrote music. I was basically a producer, kind of like the overseer, what I'm saying, or main executive producer or anything like that. And I had artists under me, and I was doing things, I was shooting videos and stuff like that. And they was like, yeah, hey, look, we're trying to do this website. I want you to come and pitch a show to me, whatever, whatever. And I was like, all right, great, cool, And at the time, I wouldn't even think about spectacular at the time. Because I was just like, let's comic books, blah blah blah. And I was like, I came up with some crazy little story thing, and I was like, okay, we can do this. So I presented them. They were like, oh, okay, all right. I mean,
Oh my
yeah.
god. Okay.
And then they was like, man, they was like, well, we need to do something else. If you want to pitch something else, let me know and stuff like that. So I to this day is clear as day. I don't remember the specific day, but I remember vividly to this day. I was working on some spectacular Ink stuff, and I was actually watching Arrow. I think it was season two or season. If you know what that is, Green Arrow. He had
right.
a show on the CW.
Right.
I was watching that show, and I looked, and I double looked, and I said, hold on, wait a minute. So I put my pencil down, and I'm looking. I was like, okay, well, yeah, we can get some cars. I mean, you just go find an alley somewhere, and you just shooting arrows. I mean, they talking in a room. I'm like, might be feasible to. I mean, they're not,
Right.
flying enough, and they're just running around. I'm like, let me find one. Maybe I pitch one of my characters that just runs around and they solve crimes or something. You know what I'm saying? We ain't gotta have no big budget to shooting lasers or beams or anything like that. I was like, just find a character. So I went down my list of characters, my 190 at this point, and I saw the character named Motion Man, and I was like, I was like, he could short range teleport and digitally create weapons off thought. I was like, if we do a camera trick, that's pretty cool. And I took some of my little, and this it's crazy because everybody's like, now I got the Motion Man comic. We got the first episode of Motion Man on our YouTube channel, and we're in the process of. I'm gonna give y'all a little secrets a little bit later too. The process of doing some
Okay.
stuff with him anyway. But it's crazy because everybody sees him now, and I got the actor that portrays him. He looks just like him in my head, which is crazy. It's crazy. But but he was literally on my. I had broken tiers. And you got your A list, you got your B list, and he was Motion Man was literally on my C list, like at the bottom, like I think
That's
number 150 something. And I took some of the lower end characters, like Raphael Wonder, Star Flare, Razor Shot. These are bottom scraping characters. Like they don't need no real effects or anything like that. So I put it together, came up with configured a story around these little C list whatever characters. I pitched it to them. They was like, "Yo, we want to do that. That's crazy." And I was like, "Oh, okay, cool." And literally, that's what sparked the flame of everything, kind of progressing into what it is now. We looked at the different elements of it. I wrote, different season platforms and things of that nature, and we've been trying it. We've had some trials and tribulations. onto some things and stuff like that. But that's kind of how we started the process of getting to where we're at now, as far as production and things of that nature. So it wouldn't be a Motion Man episode one, a Death Wish episode one, a stage play or anything like that if it wasn't not for those two. They're going to be with me till the wheels fall off, or whatever the case may be. So I appreciate them wholeheartedly.
That's cool.
Okay. That's awesome. Absolutely. And so how do you keep the inspiration going for these types of characters? Like what's your motivation? And I assume you have a crew of people that write for you, or how is this all come together?
Well, to be honest with you, Manny will be kind of almost be the first person besides the stage play, because the stage play is done by Navaco Entertainment. Love them to death. They do different stage plays. They're one of the top stage play companies out on the on the like the East Coast, as far as they've done stuff in DC, Maryland, all that type of stuff, and here and in DC or whatever. Um, and that was because of Steven. Steven's one of the main actors, and I consider him a producer now as well. For the project, he's one of the projects called The Associates, and he was in a stage play, and I think he was in two actually. And when I was able to go to the other one, I think that's when our son was being born, I think, or something like that. So that's the reason I couldn't go to that one. But he was like, yeah, yeah, we doing this other, and then he's about to do a third play. And I thought about it. I was like, it's like I don't think there's been a stage play of a comic book out here in Virginia. Oh, you know what? So he set that up, and
Mhm.
I pitched it, and I'm sorry, I consider God's favor all day, because we're indie, so we don't have a big Paramount budget or anything like that, instead of HBO budget, nothing. I'm just like,
Mhm.
boom, this is what I'm trying to do, and they was like, yo, we love it, and it's kind of how that got greenlit. But it was more over looking at all the different aspects of what can actually happen or what can transpire to actually build into what the ultimate goal was, being kind of being first and stuff like that. So like us when after setting up those meetings and actually trying to get to the position of with stage plays and motion man and things of that nature, I think that really pushed the envelope of what we can do out here, in Virginia and collectively as well, as far as like changing the elements. Because even that's a benefit to the actors and actresses out here as well. Because the other goal for us also is trying to put them on the on the limelight of other producers and things of that nature. Because to be realistic, it is that the Hollywood industry is very cutthroat. You're like one of 10,000 that's going for this position or this role, but if you know somebody that knows somebody, or somebody's seen you, if a producer's seen you, they're like, oh, actually, you know what? I like, and then they're trying to get that person's agent because they like what they saw. And if
Right.
we can do that for them here, that actually, bleeds into their career as well. And actually happened with Steven, because he actually ended up getting into this indie movie because they saw him in the trailer of The Associates.
Oh,
So that kind of helped them. That kind of helped
Awesome.
him out. Yeah, that's what I want to do. We want to help each other out. I want to help
right.
people with
Absolutely.
their careers as well and stuff like that. And what was the other part of your question? I want to make sure I answer that right. Because I know you had
Pretty
asked me
much
something.
just the motivation, and also like other than Manny being part of your writing crew, do you have other
Yes,
individuals that?
there we go. Appreciate
Mhm.
it. Sorry, because my mind was warping.
Oh no,
So,
you're good. You're good.
but yeah. Besides Manny, I a lot of this stuff. This is not bragging at all. It's just because I have to get into a position where I can turn into a Kevin Feige. If you're not familiar with him, I'm gonna explain that in a second. But I haven't really found writers yet to really write stuff. I'm
Mhm.
actually now that's changing, and I'm actually having meetings with people now and stuff like that. But a lot of everything that you're hearing, you're seeing, come to light, I basically created and wrote. The benefits I will say though, and I'm going to give credit where credit is due. So Death Wisher season one, we actually have episode one is out now. I have a fabulous director slash writer for that. We getting into the show production. Mr. Alvin wrote the script. I wrote the treatment and the baseline for it. Mr. Alvin Saunders, he is the director and showrunner for Death Wisher, and he wrote that script. And that's how we're going to set up the process. So this is a newer thing now. I was just saying for a lot of the back end stuff and stuff that I created. And now, if you're talking about the associates, we're getting that more stabilized now. I have a director and writer. His name is Russ Fullmore. That's out here in Virginia, indie director and writer himself. And I wrote the baseline, created the characters, created the city, and he's writing the scripts for that. So I'm starting to now branch off and I want that to happen. I don't want to take
Mhm.
all the credibility for writing certain things because I can't write all of that. There's just no way
Right.
possible. But the inspiration is the reason I was saying all of that to you earlier, and I was trying to figure out why I was saying that, is because that is my inspiration. All of what I just said for the past almost 5 minutes, Steven, getting his other role because of what they saw, like that's inspiring to me. That helps me to keep going. The stage play opportunity and locking in that deal that keeps me going. There was another deal we locked in that's for a show that's getting ready to get and go into production. It's called, I think I was saying about that earlier. It's called Mason, Diary of the Indestructible Girl. It's literally about a girl going from middle school to high school that has indestructible skin. So, she's adapting, learning to be learning to be a woman, learning to be trying to figure out high school, and learning to be a hero. And she's in the world where Motion Man and stuff like that is. So Motion Man and all of them, they're helping train her into being, a hero. And that is if you've ever seen the show Never Have I Ever on Netflix, or if you've seen Sister Sister with Tia
Yeah.
Tamura, stuff like that, think about that, but with powers. She will have her own point of
Nice.
view. She's talking to the camera. She's like, all right, oh my God, it's the first day of high school, blah, blah, blah. And I had to stop this bank robbery, and then I was late for class, and stuff like that. Like, this is the show for kids and young adults, people in high school, people in middle school. And I wanted to have something that they could grow with. This is their character. Like, she's
Mhm.
speaking for them. She has friends that are going through issues and stuff like that. And they're like, wow, I'm going through that. Wow, whatever, whatever. And that's what this show is. We have a lovely young lady. Her name is Willow, and she's going to be a force to be reckoned with. To me, it's like I felt like the producers, which is a blessing. Like the producers, when they found Raven Simone when she was young, when they put her on
Mhm.
Right.
Mhm. Yeah.
Cosby Show, and they like, oh, she
She's the
is
one.
going to be a
Right.
force to be reckoned with and stuff like that. And that's how she is. This little girl is no joke. And I was able to get the rest of the cast established and taken care of. And then basically, there's a company, a great indie production company called Royal House
Mhm.
Productions. I got to shout them out because they had the first season of what's called a show called Vengeance Is Mine, which Steven's on. The guy that's playing this. That's what Steven's being close, and he's the lead of the show for season one. I saw it, and I was like, man, that was great. I was like, it was awesome. Okay, cool. What triggered for Mason though, for me to pitch that show to them was that coming to find out, I think yes, you're gonna love this. It's done by all females, female director, female editor, female cinematographer, female. I was like, and then, so I'm talking, and then of course he got another thing. That's why I said Steven. He's a producer now, so I give him credit because if it wasn't for him, a lot of some things wouldn't happen. I was like,
Right.
yo,
Mhm.
can you set up a meeting? Because I was like, yo, that's all females. I was like, I need that formation. Like, I want to, because I don't want me telling that story. I want females to talk about. So when she's transitioning or going through things as a female, they need a female perspective, not some man. Oh, I guess this is what women go through. Like, no, we need a woman's perspective. So
Right.
he set up the meeting. I went in there. I was nervous. I don't know what my wife would tell you that I was so nervous. I was like, I hope this works. And I pitched it, and I was like, boom. And he was like, we love it. Oh my gosh! And I got locked in. They ordered a 10-episode season one of Mason, Diary of the Indestructible Girl. The first episode is on YouTube, but it wasn't done by them though. They
Okay.
saw it and they said, because they were just going to do episodes 2 through 10, but they said no, we want to give you the full. Like, we need to give you our cameras, our lighting. Like, they're taking over and doing everything. The only thing we're doing is creating the characters, writing the season
Story.
one. And yep, exactly. And this, going to your question now, yes, that me getting newer people, I have to get
Mhm.
acclimated to other people being able to write. So I actually have a small little mini writing team
Right.
for this show. So it's different. So then, if you go into the question, if you're asking me like, How is that? It's different. Talking to Manny is different, but it's different in a good way. Because you're talking about people who created people like, create characters like Batman or Iron Man. I know Stan Lee was probably like, oh man, this is kind of, it's kind of odd body experience because you're like, I created this character, but just like you can't write everything for this character. You
Right.
need
Right.
somebody else to touch it. Because matter of fact, if anybody is listening now, if you're a comic book writer, what happens is that, a lot of people try to understand why we get new number ones. Like they'll run an issue of the Fantastic Four for a certain amount of time, and they'll be on number 78 or whatever, whatever. Then they'll stop making it for a few months, and all of a sudden you'll be like, there, you'll just see an ad promo like, "Hey, Fantastic Four number 1." You're like, oh, okay, I thought it was on number. But then they're like, Jason Aaron's writing, and Jason Aaron is a really good comic book writer. But let's say he never touched Fantastic Four at all. And they're like, Jason Aaron's coming on to write Fantastic Four. And everybody's like, oh, wow, what? Because I get excited.
Right.
Like, that, like certain runs that's going on now, Jonathan Hickman, that's another phenomenal writer, Hickman. I see his name, I'm like, oh, whoa, it changes the entire way I look at the book. Like, it's just, oh, okay, that's another Spider-Man book done by Jonathan Hickman. I'm like, oh, now you got my attention.
That's right.
You know what I'm saying? So
Yeah.
that's how, because like with the character, for an example, with Messenger, if you're not in the comics, I'm calling space. If you're not really in the comics, you're not really in the stuff I'm talking about. That's not really going to pique your interest. But this was another thing that I was excited about with like Manny and his community. They're like, okay, Messenger, some sci-fi guy got a suit and it was written by Manny.
Right.
Okay, changes.
I think that's what makes it so exceptional. I mean, I've read comics, but I'm not like my brother, which I introduced you to,
Mhm.
and you know what I'm saying. I'm not like a big comic type fan, but I follow. You know what I'm saying? Not as
Right.
well as y'all do, um, but I can create. Like my imagination, you gave me like the baseline and kind of a direction in which to go, and like my mind just started moving, and it was going and going and going. And it's like a movie in my head, and it's
Right.
like
Right.
I write it, and then it's like verbal vomit, for lack of a better phrase. You know what I'm saying? And then I'll just write it out, and then add the fillers, you know what I'm saying, and go back and read it and be like, well, this might be better. You know what I'm saying? So it's like just my imagination and putting um, the different characters and the different, heroes and the different villains, and it's different. So it's like I've never done it, and I'm tackling it as I would Love Is Our Magic, or my sequel that I'm writing. Um, and like you said, bringing like the light spotlight to the character itself, and getting people involved in that character's life, and still telling the story. So I'm excited. I can't wait to finish.
Yeah, yeah, it's
So,
definitely exciting.
Absolutely.
November. Tell us
Hmm.
about November.
Yeah, so that's when we're supposed to be doing the stage play. I gotta get a confirmation on that from the production team, but the understanding is it's supposed to be November 23rd, but don't quote me on that yet. We just
Oh,
gotta get a definitive because we're trying to either. I think that he's trying to find a bigger spot because he
right,
thinks that we're going to have bigger ticket sales. We had one arena, the smaller arena that he was going to utilize,
hmm,
but the more things progress and some of the excitement is starting to build, he's like, "Oh, I don't know if that's going to be enough. I think we need a bigger space." So he's trying to figure that out. So as of right
right,
now, it's November 23rd, but the same whatever day that he does choose, we're doing what's called Spectacular Con,
right.
which is in
That's
the
what I was
beginning
talking
part of the
about.
day.
Actually, I
Yep.
was actually talking about Spectacular God. I didn't know you
Yeah.
were going to do the stage
Oh yeah,
play.
we're doing the stage play in the afternoon of that time frame. We're doing two and
Okay,
one, and we're inviting like press and news people and
okay,
junkets and stuff like that because we want to entice investors. We want to excite fans, and we want to develop something that becomes like a cult following, if that makes sense.
right,
And Spectacular Con, we wanted it to be an annual thing. We wanted it to be a yearly thing. I had a lot of stuff, of course, my son being born and stuff like that. Last year didn't really pan out the way we wanted to be able to actually do it. We did our first Spectacular Con in 2022, and it turned out great. We had music performances, we had vendors and things of that nature. So it was definitely an awesome experience, being able to be there and to kind of head that up and things of that nature. Now this time around, we'll be able to actually do it a lot better. I learned from a lot of the mistakes that I kind of didn't make, but this time now we're able to have people come out in costumes. Be able to come out and be able to do a lot of different things. So it's definitely going to be an exciting element.
Yeah, I can't wait. I'm definitely planning on coming. So yeah, you're talking about a different state. So let me know when the actual date is gonna be. I'm definitely coming out with
Yeah, definitely. Because I want you to come out when people talk about that.
yeah,
Basically.
yeah.
So with
Yeah.
all
So
these great productions and projects and characters and just a lot that you have going on with you and your team, where can people find all of, where can they view what you offer, your comic characters, productions, etc.? Where can they find you?
yes. So we're in the development of, if you want to type it in, you can. So because we had to redo the website, so we had to get a brand new website. So it will be www.spectacularincomicsllc.com. So you can go there now, and actually, it's good. Basically, it's just going to let you know, hey, it's coming, and then you can actually put your email in to be alerted that when the site goes live, you'll be able to get that. That's where you'll be able to see everything, like as far as like where the comic books are online, different all these different things. You can learn about the characters, events, and stuff like that. Also, we're on Facebook, Spectacular Ink Comics. You find us on Facebook. We're on Threads. We're on Instagram. We're on YouTube. Our shows are there and stuff like that. And what's going to change is that with the shows that we're doing now, and this is kind of inside baseball real quick,
Hmm.
we're actually going to shift over to, because like the Royal House Productions is actually having Mason actually going to be on Tubi, Amazon, and like those type of platforms, Roku. And
Nice.
when we do the other episodes for our shows, they're actually going to be on those platforms as well. So that's changing too. But you can find us on all social media platforms: Spectacular Ink Comics. Like I said, Threads, Facebook, things of that nature. If you do go to the website, it will let you know when you can put your email in. It's going to let you know when the website is active and available.
Okay,
Did you mention the YouTube
great.
channel? You told them about
Would
the
you say,
YouTube
Mandy?
channel.
Yeah, the YouTube channel, Spectacular Ink Comics. Yeah, I was saying YouTube channel as well. That's where Spectacular Ink Radio is at and things of that nature. And then we're on Facebook. We're on a platform called Powered by Virginia. That's where we're at now. The other podcast studio that we were using ended up shutting down. And then so we ended up going to a different platform now.
Okay.
So it's called Powered by Virginia. You can find it on Facebook. And then when you find us there, you can be able to see us and things of that nature. But on Spectacular Ink Radio, we do still do the comic book reviews, straight out of theater movie reviews, and things of that nature too.
Awesome. Okay, great. Well, to the audience and viewers, as you can see, anything that you put your heart and mind and soul to, you can do. This started with a passion, loving to read comic books as a young child, and now look, he's building an empire and positively motivating and changing the dynamics of what a superhero really is, right? Because, like he was mentioning earlier, there's a lot of we have a certain type of superhero that we see on TV, right?
Right.
But he is wanting to make sure that that changes because superhero comes in all shapes, colors, sizes, ethnicities, etc. And so that is a beautiful thing to encompass. It starts with a vision, with a passion. He did the research, did the homework, and voila, modern time, look where we're at today. So that is a beautiful story. Thank you for sharing that.
Yeah.
And I know this was just a taste of the many things that he had to offer. So we're more than
Yeah.
likely going to bring him on for a part two in
Of course.
2025.
Yes.
Um, because I'm excited to see and hear more about how everything unfolds, especially the projects that you mentioned, the productions, the event that you have coming up later in the year. So there's just a lot of amazing things happening. So I salute you and your team. Absolutely.
I
That's all.
appreciate that, and it was definitely an honor sharing it with you guys, and I look forward to coming back on as well.
Most definitely. We'll definitely touch base and get a tentative date to get to be back on, man. I I'm excited, bro. I'm excited. I can't wait till November. I'm there. I'm ready.
I appreciate you. I appreciate you. The honor is mine, man. Yeah, so we're gonna have panels too. So he's gonna have his own panel too. Where he's gonna talk
Okay.
about he's gonna have his own table where he sells his own book. but then we're going to actually have panels, kind of like how Marvel does it, where we actually going to
Okay.
have the directors each project come up and actually talk about what's coming up in 2025. So we're going to do it like
Okay.
that.
Okay. I'll be camera ready.
Yeah,
Yeah, I gotta
definitely.
make sure you get your hair and makeup done, Manny.
Right. Yeah. Makeup. Makeup.
All right, so we are approaching the end of the show, and this is our segment for last minute words and motivation.
Yeah.
So, Manny, if you would lead us so that way Andre has a feel for what to expect for
Okay.
last minute words and how we conclude.
Okay. So, as I always say, don't let the fear of failure overcome the righteousness of success. Um, like Andre said, he's been doing this, and it's just a passion that he's had since he was a kid. Take that passion that you have and make it a reality. Look at what he did. He has a whole comic universe in Virginia, um, and he's motivated every day. He has a whole team of people, and they're making it happen. And they didn't let a no or a slam door stop them. You know, um, trust the process, because I'm pretty sure, just like every entrepreneur, there's been hard times, even harder times, and then rock bottom. Once you hit that rock bottom, there's only one way to go but up. You just got to stay focused. You could find me on Facebook and Instagram, authormanmorales.com. That's the website, authormanmorales.com. But Facebook and Instagram, Author Manny Morales. And then the model page is Manny Morales 1824. I remembered it this time, Yessie. Anyway, um, if you want a copy of my book, just DM me and I will definitely autograph it to you and send it out. Um, yeah, so I hope you enjoyed the show. We'll get Mr. Brown to give us, a couple inspirational words for y'all guests.
Oh, you want me to say
Andre,
something now?
any
Yep.
last minute words that you want to share with the viewers and audience and listeners of Hoy en Dia TV?
Yeah, definitely. Just like Manny said, don't let a no stop you, because and unfortunately there are people who when you're trying to build something like that, they're going to try to tear you down. And I'm letting you know, I'm a living witness, because everybody, some people ask about, what about, what's it, the different Kickstarters and things of that nature, and I actually tried a few, and people were blocking me, people were like no, and trying to block everything that I'm doing and stuff like that. And I'm I didn't let that stop me. And just because you're in a room with other professional execs and you don't know if your idea is good, no, just pitch it, just go for it. You never know what's going to happen.
Right? Exactly.
That is
Yep.
amazing. So, two inspirational words of encouragement. And so for me, we've had another amazing episode, another amazing segment. And like we always strive here for Oyendia TV is to positively motivate, inspire, educate, enlighten, and of course, entertain you with each episode that you listen to. Thank you for your listening support, your viewing support,
Yeah.
sharing, liking, commenting. I salute you. Thank you so, so much, because we want to be that beacon of light. This world is so full of negativity. We want to provide that inspiration for you, right?
Right.
Many of us need that. Many of us need to be poured into. Even if by listening to us, we
Right.
hope and pray that that is doing that for you so that you can continue to strive on pushing, because we know life is not easy. And nothing in this world is easy. And especially when you work hard for it, that's
Yeah.
when you know it's meant to be, because nothing good comes easy.
Right.
If it comes easy to do you, then I encourage you to question, this is too
Right.
easy. Is it for me,
Right.
right? Because you have to work hard.
Mm-hmm.
Manny, myself, and now we have Mr. Brown here, who have proven it takes years of work,
Yeah.
determination, pushing, sweat, blood, tears, investment. You have to invest in yourself. And I speak about this in many of our episodes. Self investment is key as well. The same way that you go to university and spend hundreds and thousands of dollars, the same way you put your kids through charter schools, spending hundreds and thousands of dollars, that's an investment that you're making. So why not invest in yourself? What's holding
Right.
you back? Right? And so, with that in mind, I want to shout out also to our sponsors. So, we have author Manny Morales, Divine Beauty and Accessories, Collective Wear, V Atlas Wines, My Rod Enterprises, and you can be our next sponsor. So if you want to be a sponsor for Oyendia, just reach out to us here. I'm going to put the email so you can reach out to us via hoyendiatv@gmail.com. And like I always say, the sky is never the limit because the galaxies, they're endless. Until next time, thanks for tuning in.
Adios.
Bye.